Hello, I'm the Badger Reborn, and today's video is something special. I recently participated in a group podcast session hosted by the Black Tower podcast. It also had guests, the Gleemen and the Way of the Leaf. The Black Tower pod set it all up and got us together for several hours of fantastic Wheel of Time discussion and arguments. We went through our favorite unpopular opinions regarding characters, themes, or the TV show, and debated the merits of the topic. We split the episode into 2 parts, and I further split it in half again, so I'll release it in 4 parts. They're still long, but I loved creating it, and I think you'll enjoy listening. I had a blast debating with these guys, and I've put a link to each of their groups' information in the video discussion below. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and at the end of the video, check these other guys out as well, and subscribe to their platforms, YouTube or podcasts. They each bring something really special and unique to the table. The Gleeman has really intellectual, kind of deep dive takes, whether it's longer or sometimes just kind of bite-sized discussions into different various Wheel of Time topics. The Way of the Leaf is really quite funny. They do the puppets each time, and it's a discussion, sometimes spoiler, sometimes non-spoiler, of the Wheel of Time books. The Black Tower podcast has been going on for a long time, and as you can probably tell from these videos, they go really deep dives into the books with a lot of kind of philosophical takes, looking deeply at characters or themes and that kind of thing. They're all fantastic, so check them all out. I hope you enjoy the second quarter of this fun discussion, starting now.
So, Badger, it's your turn to be released on the green, because saying release yourself on the green sounds weird.
Don't release yourself on the green. The women's circle will not be happy with you.
Yeah, bro.
But secretly, they're going to be very pleased.
So I thought about going with Min, or my opinion, Min has more agency than Avienda in the series, but I decided instead to go with a kind of opinion I've been forming recently, especially on the audiobook reread, that Perrin is worse than Faile. I've always disliked Faile since the first time I read the series, and I think almost everyone does. She's probably either the least popular character, maybe Gawain's less popular. It's one of the two. But she always comes off
trying
petty and immature. But the more times I reread and also discuss with other people, I don't really think she's that bad, Faile. I think it's mostly because we perceive her through Perrin's point of view. So we see things through Perrin's eyes. He smells her jealousy. He smells her other emotions. Then he tries to make her feel better without her having done anything, and she gets angry at him. And we empathize with Perrin because it's his point of view. So recently, I've been kind of getting more mad at Perrin for not thinking it through. He knows he can smell emotions, but he doesn't really think about what might be the deeper cause of them, so he ends up hurting Faile. But that's not my biggest gripe with Perrin, or better thing with Faile. So Perrin and Faile have really different customs, and that's something that Perrin decided he wanted when he married her. But he refuses to adjust his way of life to her customs. He figures out for himself that she likes being yelled at, and Elias also tells him, but he just refuses to do it because he doesn't think that fits kind of the way he wants to be a man, and he doesn't think it's how women should be treated and how they should act. But by doing that, and he sort of knows this, he's making Faile feel weak and unempowered. So, by the way, I have major issues with the Saldean customs, and I wouldn't defend Faile. But there's a point that Perrin signs up for this. He signed up for it, and so he either needs to move on from her or accept some change and do what Faile wants. Really the biggest gripe with Perrin that kind of leads into is that he refuses to learn about other cultures around him. He's supposedly a caring leader, and he is of the Two Rivers people, but in terms of cultures, definitely not. He doesn't know anything about Saldea or its customs, despite spending all of his time for months with Faile. And he also spends an enormous amount of time with his best friend Gaul, but could he tell you anything about Giotto or Aiel customs? Heck no. He doesn't know or care about them at all. Faile, on the other hand, not only learns about them, but is so trustworthy and kind of good friends and close with Bane and Shia that they teach her hand talk, which I think she's the only character in the series to learn any hand talk from any maidens, and that's really cool.
One of two. Elaine, as the first sister of Avienda, also actually gets taught.
Okay, right.
It's very, very little, and it's specifically said that it's very, very, very little, but she does also get taught a little bit.
Okay.
And we decided Elaine's an NPC. So.
Yes.
You're right.
As a protagonist in the story, Faile is the only one who knows her.
Yes, as an antagonist, you're right. Faile is the only one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I definitely think Faile deserves some of the crap that she gets from the fan base. But Perrin just has his head buried in the sand the entire time and deliberately chooses to not even make an effort to do any better. And I won't get into like the fact that he just dodges his leadership for so long, but that's another issue that I have with him. Whereas Faile kind of tries to embrace that at one point or at some point and moves forward. Whereas Perrin he frustrates me so much. So I think Perrin's the worst character than Faile. That's my unpopular opinion.
All right. Well,
Some pent up rage there.
It's not unpopular.
Oh!
That's actually incredibly
No.
unpopular, both within the
really?
fandom and within these 8 people right here, and we'll get to it. No, I'm just
you
kidding.
might be surprised by some of the answers you hear, Daniel.
Well,
Because
start us
I am
off,
going. Yeah, I am. I'm gonna absolutely agree. In that lens, yeah. Now, as a character, I like Perrin a lot more than I like Faile. I do think Faile gets some unjust discuss because she is the subject of Winter's Heartgate. I hate snow, and I don't even live in snow because of Faile. So there might be some misplaced dissatisfaction and anger there that just finds its way into Faile. I mean, and then like you said, we see everything through the view of Perrin, who is frequently frustrated with her, and not saying she's not childish because she is a child, and she is childish, but we see it all through Perrin. I wouldn't go so far as to say that Perrin absolutely and outright refuses to adapt to her customs and cultures. I mean, I'm a very big proponent of relationships should be 50-50. So if the only thing that gets your rocks off and gets the falls flowing is the person you're married to yelling at you, then you still agree to marry them as well. And you know they're from a very, very different culture, that you don't do that. Well, not for that purpose. And you do it in private. Well, which I think for the most part they do. But anyway, yeah, Perrin has some serious shortfalls because, yeah, he smells jealousy and says, oh, I need to do things to keep her from not being jealous, but Berline's boobs are everywhere I go. And there's nothing he can really do about it.
What do you do about that?
I mean, sometimes you just gotta pretend they're not there, I guess.
The BBs.
Yeah. But
they're DDs at least. Come on.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
This is quickly turning into a different argument.
Yeah. But I mean, he doesn't think far enough through about it, and which stereotypically at least is an issue that a lot of like newly discovered couples, once they get past the honeymoon phase, and newly married couples, once they get past their honeymoon phase, kind of do the same thing. You don't think about things enough, and we see Faile for a while. She kind of like tolerates it because she doesn't understand why, but she can tell that obviously Perrin somehow knows that she's upset and stuff, and eventually we see her use it for her own advantage. But yeah, he doesn't think through it enough. You know, okay, she's jealous. Why is she jealous? But she's not acting like she's jealous, but I can smell it. Well, then maybe don't fucking say anything about it because she's not showing her jealousy because she's trying to be nice for you. So yeah, I would absolutely agree. He does have an apparent proclivity for refusing to do the things that he needs to do, such as learn cultures, be a leader, take up that mantle, and stop going emo over Hopper and the fact that you might start to like your axe. So yeah, short thing. I know I've talked longer than I intended to anyway, but yeah, I'd agree. Through that lens, Perrin is a far worse character than Faile. Dan.
Well, to your point, I pretty much agree exactly with what you were saying. What we have is young love, right? We hear that Perrin is, I guess, could talk all slickly with the ladies, according to Rand, but we don't actually see any sort of relationship until Faile. Faile's younger than he is. And I think that for the most part, she handles things in a somewhat mature manner. But Perrin has the benefit or curse, be that as you view it, of being able to smell her emotions. So let's say that you're a boss and someone comes in and goes, hey, I got those quarterly reports, and puts them on your desk. And this person didn't do anything, but you are able to smell jealousy, resentment, They smell like they think that you failed upwards. Whatever, they don't like your car. You're smelling all kinds of things, and all this person did was just bring the quarterly reports. But we're hearing all this negative stuff because we're in Perrin's head. And so when we hear that Faile is jealous and is hiding things, she's not hiding things. She's being mature. She's maintaining her emotions. She just doesn't have the benefit of not having a boyfriend who can smell all this stuff on her. And so I think a lot, if we take away the smells, if we take away Perrin's his commentary on her feelings, instead of us just being able to gauge who she is from what we are reading and what we are seeing, if we take Perrin away from that filter, I think we have a pretty likable character. It's just that because she is become like the Yoko Ono of the Edmondsfield boys, and it's like, oh yeah, John Lennon's just tying knots over in the corner instead of doing music and stuff. We're seeing. I like Faile. I think that she is treated dirty, and I don't know if I think that she is a better person. I don't know if I can equate it on there, but I certainly think that she has been kicked in the mud based on her view through Perrin's nose.
Daniel?
I
view through the nose.
No, it was really good. I liked
What
it.
they say, the nose is the window to the soul.
So I literally could not disagree with this statement any more than I actually do. I think that Perrin is not a great character. Sorry, that's not true. I think Perrin is a great character. I don't think that Perrin is a great person. I think that Perrin has a laundry list of faults that actually make him a relatively bad hero. To the point of, he is no longer a reluctant hero. He is a problematically reluctant hero. But at the same time, I really do have to give him credit where credit is due. He stands there from day one and says, I don't want this. And people pile expectations on him like no one's business. It is completely fair that he doesn't want to be the leader of Emmonsfield. He has no desire to do that. And he keeps on telling them that. But Faile goes around behind his back and says, Lord Perrin wants you to do this. And Lord Perrin is doing all of this stuff on your behalf. And Lord Perrin is the leader of the Two Rivers. And he's like, what in the ever-loving fuck? I said no. And so, like, again, I don't necessarily think that Faile is garbage. I definitely don't. But I don't think that people do her dirty at all, because she is not mature. She is absolutely someone who made an agreement to be in a relationship with a man and absolutely refuses to go ahead and give him an opinion and refuses to give him a say in his own life. And she walks around behind him and manipulates the fuck out of everyone that is around him and everything that he does. And that is completely unfair to do to the other person. Now, again, let me be very clear here. Perrin does not meet her as far as he should. I absolutely think that he should do more to learn about Zaldea. I absolutely think that he should do more to give her what she wants, both in the bedroom and out. All of that different stuff. I absolutely agree that Perrin is pretty stubborn, but Perrin starts that way and finishes that way. And I don't think it's a trait that he necessarily needed to change. I think it's one that she tries to make him change unfairly. That is my take on Perrin and Faile.
All right, Ryan.
Well, I think Faile and Perrin should be judged differently because they're undergoing different metamorphoses, and so Perrin is literally leveling up and gaining abilities he doesn't freaking want. He doesn't want the So I'm trying to imagine you suddenly get a sixth sense, and you now have to make sense of that while also this, doing that, figuring out the dream world, figuring this, figuring out, oh, I talk to wolves. He is going through what is close to a schizophrenic breakdown. And yet we still want him to be able to like manage like Faile, who is like a Spitfire, like chaos agent in his life. So I don't agree with you at all. I love Perrin. I think Faile is, I think you're right. Everyone's right that she's given a bad rap, and the idea that we see her viewpoint through his nose is all accurate. But still, everything you just said about how she does him wrong and like manipulates things behind his back, that's hard to watch too. And so like you can't look at her and she's not going through a transformation. She's just a person. We got a demigod. So yeah, I think we got to give Perrin a break. He's going through a hard time, and it's like if any other situation, we would just kind of let him lie down for a couple months, and maybe do some finger painting, like journal a little bit,
belly a little bit.
Yeah. Perrin needs to like
You're
journal
a good
it
boy.
out.
Who's a good boy?
Oh, why you gotta dog me like that? Just kidding. All right, yeah, so that's my take.
All right. Well, Josh's technical difficulties, like Pat and Fane does, have returned just when you think they're gone.
Right.
So, Drew, let's hear you next, because I didn't mean to skip over you.
Oh, I don't get my rebuttal?
Huh?
Oh, no
Wait,
worries.
did
I was
Drew
going
get
to take
skipped
it.
over?
Man,
So loaded.
I'm tempted to say Faile did nothing wrong, but Daniel, no, you're right, Daniel. Like, man, this is 2 in a row. She's so manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
But what does she have to work with? Like, I kind of enjoyed Perrin. He can talk to wolves. That's pretty cool.
Oh, he's a
But
wet blanket.
then do what?
He's a wet blanket. I totally agree, Drew. Like, look at what she had to work with. He's totally a wet blanket. In public situations, he's garbage.
God,
Okay, wait. Okay, so there's subtleties here. Plot-wise,
Sure.
Perrin's a protagonist who is not pro-tagging. Like, he's not doing anything. And I'm so tired of your navel-gazing. You can talk to ferocious pack predators. You're cool, bro. Belly up. Let's do some stuff. I don't care if you didn't pick this. It picked you. Deal. Like, that's how I felt so much with Perrin. So, I mean, I get where Faile's coming from. I think pragmatically, Faile saw that she has a huge influx of refugees among Emond's fielders, a very almost untenable situation with a catastrophic attack of horror monsters coming on. And she's like, all right, something's got to move. And so she's doing what she can. But honestly, when a relationship is not working, there are no good or bad guys. People are just trying to deal. And so it's like, and I think Jordan was channeling some experience of how hard communication in a relationship is with them, because I can relate to Perrin in that if you're kind of an introverted thinker, it's like, all right, put your thought in to the gumball machine, give it a few cranks, and wait like 10 minutes, and I swear something relevant will come out. But not right now. And it's like the more you demand right now, the longer it's going to be for anything meaningful to come out. And that's totally Perrin's character and Faile's misunderstanding of him. And Perrin's misunderstanding of Faile. And so culturally, did they kind of miss each other? Yeah, definitely. I think Faile was doing more to meet Perrin than Perrin was doing to meet Faile. But as a Southern American man, I can get that. Like, if my wife was like, I want you to yell at me. I'm like,
My mom would kill me.
It's like, do you know what would happen to me if my dad were in the house and I did that? Like, he'd have to be dead to not knock me off my feet. So, I mean, culture, and obviously the Two Rivers is very, I don't want to say conservative. That's too political. It's very reserved, very almost puritanical in that sense. So, of course, Perrin has that kind of feeling about how to speak to Faile. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's ever fair to make good guys and bad guys in a relationship when communication is involved, because it's just hard. Like, and you don't know you're not speaking the same language as someone else. So you're just totally baffled why they're not understanding what you're saying, And so I think there was a lot of that going on. I think a lot of it would have been fixed if Perrin would belly up and deal and do some things. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Just heard a very digitized doggo.
Yep, that was.
But yeah, wow, I really like the discussion on that one. Thanks, Badger.
Well, we still got Vance.
Really...
Good, Badger.
We still got
I
Vance.
haven't gone yet.
We what?
Vance.
He forgot about me.
No,
oh my
no,
god.
I mean, Daniel might have, but I didn't.
Sorry, Drew and I are just so on the same wavelength that I only care about his opinion, Vince.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Wow.
Well, you keep changing his mind.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna open mine up with Perrin and Faile hit a little close to home for me because I'm in an intercultural marriage. My wife is from South Korea. I'm from the southern U.S. So there was some. Yeah, of course. Yeah. They're both South.
Yeah.
So,
respectively.
Right. Anyway, so there was there was a learning curve in our relationship, both before and after we got married. And I definitely see that reflected in Perrin and Faile. Just want to say that out there. Now, that said, I do agree with Badger that Faile does get done a little bit dirty by everyone because we don't have as much screen time with her. We have 90% of her entire time in the books through Perrin's eyes. So there's that. It's all from his perspective. I do think that occasionally she displays some hallmarks of maturity over Perrin, but that's only in the terms of things like leadership, running a camp, management of all of these responsibilities that they've taken up. Perrin's not good at all that. He's not good at being a leader necessarily without someone to drive him. He doesn't really want to move on into taking on the responsibility that, from his perspective, is being piled on him against his will. I disagree, though, Daniel, that Faile's going around behind Perrin's back and doing everything she can to make him the leader that he eventually becomes. I think some of what's happening here is Taviran nature. I think part of Perrin's Taviran nature is that people are drawn to him as a leader, and that he cannot help but attract all of these people and refugees to him due to his Taviran nature. And I think that also drives Faile to do everything she can to make him the leader he needs to become for these people, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. I disagree with you, but you make sense.
Well, anyway, that's what we can all disagree and still have a good conversation, right?
We read two different books, and that's okay.
Damn.
Exactly. That's the beauty of the books, right?
No, I agree.
So,
hey, in the book I read,
other than that,
nothing wrong.
Dude, I'm not kidding you. There is part of me that absolutely wishes that Perrin and Berlane had just gotten together so that Faile wasn't... that they weren't in a relationship. Not because I don't think that they love each other, not because I don't think that there's, like, really good pieces of it, but holy shit. Perrin would make such a good house husband to Berlane. And why did we not get Perrin the house husband? Oh my god.
Get rid of the Golden Eyes nickname. Perrin the house husband.
Someone mute Daniel.
Here we go. He's on a roll today.
Hey, keep going, Vance.
I was just going to say that other than that, I kind of, agree, disagree with everyone else's various points. So, like 50-50 on it. But, those are what I just said were my main points. So we can go ahead and wrap up and kind of move on.
Nice.
All right. So the next opinion comes from Vance.
Right. So it's pretty simple. I hate the term Zen Rand. I hate that everyone throws it around. because I feel it's a complete misconstruction of what Zen is about, and specifically what Buddhism is about. So that's just kind of why. Now, if they said he's Bodhisattva Rand, I would totally be on board with that. But they're not calling him Bodhisattva Rand. They're calling him Zen Enlightened Rand. And I'm like, I don't think Rand's really achieved enlightenment because he has no desire to pass on into nirvana and from existence. He wants to keep being reborn. So my hot take / unpopular opinion is that it's more correct to call Moradin Zen Moradin than it is to call Rand Zen Rand. Because Moradin actually wants to escape the cycle of rebirth within the Wheel of Time.
Is this
so, yeah. It's not a pro-Moradin opinion. Well, maybe. I don't know. Ever since...
did you even read the books?
I don't know.
Dude,
it's hard for me.
Wrong.
I definitely...
Moradin wanted to kill himself because of Gawain.
Oh.
Yeah, but, the only reason that he actually lets himself die is because he doesn't realize that Gawain's already gone.
It's like, oh wait, he went on a suicide thing? Okay, no, we're good. All right, shake hands. All right, thank you. All right, see you at brunch.
Oh, also, when I do die, I am gonna need you to balefire me, because otherwise, I will be brought back, and it's gonna be horrendous.
Right.
So yeah, that's just kind of my my hot take. Ever since I realized that about the character on my read through the series, I was like, I feel for him a little bit. Not to say he hasn't done terrible things, but you do kind of get the sense that this is a tortured person, and I think that makes him a compelling villain. On top of that, so anyway, I'll go ahead and pass the baton.
All right, Badger, thoughts?
So I feel like I don't have a full understanding of like the deeper nature of Zen like you do, so I can't like fully talk about that. But at least from my understanding, part of it is sort of being at peace with your situation, and I think that's definitely something that Rand comes to, at peace with the fact that he is tied to Lews Therin. He is Lews Therin, and then sort of at peace with the fact that you can't control everything around you. And I think Rand gets to that point as well, to where he's not saying, I need to drag everyone to the last battle and do this because it's my thing. It's more of an understanding of, I love all these people, and so it's something that I can do for them while I'm letting them fight for themselves as well. That's all I got, so I'll pass it on, which is that quick thought.
So for me, largely it would be a lot of the same. I don't have an in-depth understanding of Zen and enlightenment, especially from the traditions that you've mentioned, Vance. Just don't. I mean, I've studied it very, very minimally. One semester of a college class that touches on it for like maybe 5 weeks, if even that, isn't enough to understand just about anything. But I mean, I think the motive behind it is a lot like Badger said, somebody that comes to terms with their situation. There's a part where Rand is, once he understands that the prophecy seems to indicate that he's going to die, that he's like, I don't want to die, but I also don't want to channel, and I'm going crazy. Shut up, Lews Therin. I'm thinking here. And he resists that so much, and we see Rand for so long being the emo Rand, the stay away from me, I can't be close to anyone, I'm gonna die, just leave me alone.
Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, pretty much. So we get that for so long. So part of whenever Rand has his epiphany moment on Dragon Mount, standing on, as some people would call a Dick Mountain, and just being like, just having that moment where he's like, I shouldn't repeat the mistakes of the past, that it's so refreshing and seems like such an incredible 180 from what he was, that it's kind of like we want to say that he's enlightened, that he's Zen, that he's all together and perfect, and he's not. I'm glad that Tobey Maguire has joined us. Welcome back, sir.
Yes.
No running over no running over paparazzi this time, or taking their camera, whatever it was he did. I can't remember, but it was funny. No, he just shouted at him, like telling him to get the F out the way. Anyway.
Danced a lot.
Oh, yeah. But, I would agree that by virtue of definition of the words and what they mean and what they entail, yeah, it's completely inaccurate, even from my little bit of an understanding. And I think it's one of those things that's a phrase that caught on because it captures the feeling and the thought of the readers as they're reading what happens. That in comparison, he seems like much more of a Zen character than he did previously. So I think that's that's not so much an agree or disagree, more of a trying to explain where the word came from or the phrase came from, I guess.
My favorite kind of topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say that they, to that point, I'm not linguistically so in tune as far as what Zen itself means, but I would say that what people are referring to is maybe harmony or bliss or peace or serenity. That whatever we find, what emotion that we can call Rand, where and to be honest, when I think about the Buddhist, like sitting under under the banyan tree or whatever, watching the river, it's that nirvana or that enlightenment kind of comes from the acceptance of what of the nature of things to a certain degree, and that's not too far from what I sense from Rand when he's walking away. He's kind of becoming just the happy hermit that's just going off into some cave to just collect his thoughts or something, and so that's probably where Zen comes from when we call it Zen Rand. But I think of it as just harmonious, I guess, or blissful. That sort of non-caring about things that we associate with being a Zen enlightened person, I suppose. But that's pretty much where I'm at. I don't know.
Yeah, I would actually agree mostly with what people have already been saying, but like just a little bit further on the take, is that mentally healed Rand just does not have the same ring to it. And that's what happened. He's just over himself. And
Rand.
He has become one with Luz Theron, which was always him. It's always been Luz Theron.
It's always been Wankershim.
but it's definitely, again, one of those things where I mean, this is a little bit what we were talking about before, of people will come up with easy names for things. And so they are attributing this Zen, which is absolutely a concept, though I will also say I am not incredibly familiar with it. I think I'm more familiar with it than a number of other people have said they are. But it is also really hard to pinpoint what enlightenment and serenity and nirvana and Zen actually fully is. And so it is definitely a concept of, if you go ask a Buddhist monk right now what getting to nirvana for you would look like, they would be like, I have no idea. I'm not you. So it is actually different for different people. And so I think that really, as far as Rand's situation, he does get as close to Zen, as close to nirvana as he could get to. And so I definitely, again, still think definitively you are absolutely right that Zen is not actually the right word for him, and that it's actually just non-Darth Rand, mentally healed, right, whatever.
Yeah.
And that he really has, it is accepting Rand. And that really isn't quite the same thing as Zen, but again, none of those roll off the tongue as well, none of those sound as nice, and so colloquially and connotatively, definitely, Zen Rand works, unless you're actually really talking about the definitive concept of what you're talking about. So I could not agree more. Stupid Americans are stupid, and that's a thing that's all over. It's not just America, but at the same time, like, again, people are going to misattribute words, and that is absolutely what has happened here.
All right.
That happens a lot.
All right, Drew.
And I'm back, by the way.
Oh yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back,
Josh. It's that boy.
We can resume the party.
We've been
everybody.
trashing you for like 20 minutes.
I believe it.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah, Drew, what do you think?
I'm gonna get you, Daniel. If everyone doesn't know, my goal for this podcast is actually just to get Daniel to spit orange juice on his camera. That's my goal. That's the only reason I'm still here.
Because there's champagne in it. It's gonna ruin my computer.
I regret nothing.
Mimosas, look at this fancy pants.
Ooh.
Well, I got an industrial size sparkling wine bottle. From
Oh my god!
Oh, he's got
larger
cooks,
than
guys.
your face.
That's like bottom shelf right there.
Homemade endless mimosas like you would get out at a restaurant, but of course restaurants are closed because plague. And so we were having fun this morning, and we didn't finish because people had things to do. So
that is the
I hate it when I don't finish
of bottles.
Both of those were really good. I like both of those in tandem.
Unrelated to anything, does anyone feel like America 2020 is basically Hendersnap Village?
We just did an episode on that.
Oh, did you really? Oh, I gotta go see that.
Yeah, I listened to it. It was
Not
good.
specifically
It's
that
good.
2020 is Hinderstap, but we did an episode on Hinderstap, and it was
yeah.
It
That's
was
gonna be
good.
another great horror episode on the TV show.
Ooh, I hope they terrify the hell out of that.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a dark TV show if they're.
You guys are
faithful.
letting Drew just eat up his time so he doesn't have to respond. You
No,
know
okay.
that.
I actually have a substantive answer to Vance's comment.
Do you? Do you? I'm interested.
You have a substantive answer? I would not
Bring
ask
it.
that.
The roof is in the
Okay, so
pudding.
I 100% agree with Vance. My technical understanding of Zen is strictly from Vance, so that's probably why I agree with him. But I've always called, and to be clear, I'm talking about post Dragon Mount, pre last scene Rand, the Rand right in between those moments. I've always seen that as a Jesus Rand, and I don't mean that in a loose like I'm American, Jesus is he's Jesus kind of way. I literally mean in the sense that, I mean, for one thing, Jordan was not Presbyterian. Was he Methodist?
Episcopalian.
Episcopalian. Okay. So obviously he had a heavy Christian influence. Thank you, Josh. But Rand has been leveraging his own power up to this point. He's been trying to arrange things himself. And suddenly, after Dragon Mount, he goes where he feels the pattern is taking him. He, multiple times, literal miracles. Like, before his Tavernness, just randomly affected people's lives. After his moment, after Dragon Mount, his Tavernness specifically benefits people's lives. He has profound insight into people. There's a cool verse that calls in the Bible that calls Jesus the searcher of hearts. And then you have that scene where Rand literally lines up the Tyrian lords and just strolls down them, looking into their eyes and says, your time is over. Go. And it's literally like a Judas Iscariot, like, the time is now. Do what you need to do. I mean, so there are so many motifs that fit Christ more. And then when you take into account what Rand does is take upon himself responsibility for everyone else, even though he didn't need to, and go die for them. And so it's like, it's very Jesus-y imagery. There's a very clear Eastern influence, and I think that made it fresh. If it was just like Jesus in a fantasy setting, that'd be a little boring, because it's like we've seen that a lot of times. So there are a lot of Eastern influences, but I would say the core essence of what's happening, the way Rand relies upon a power larger than him to take him where he needs to be, to accomplish what needs to happen around him. All of that's very Christian influence. So anyway, I don't trivially call him Jesus Rand. And I think that's more fitting. Like I think Vance is right. Zen Rand is misappropriated.
He is a Jesus figure though too, so there is that to take into account.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's blood spilled on the rock. I mean, that's like, hello.
Yeah.
Brands on it.
Right. I mean, yeah. All that imagery there is very intentional. I feel,
can we play
Jordan's
a game on our next YouTuber panel where we just do trivia where it's, is this the Bible or is this Wheel of Time?
Would you like to play a game?
All right, Ryan, your thoughts?
Well, I just want to say that I do actually agree that Zen Rand is inappropriate, and you're correct that Bodhisattva Rand is more appropriate. A Bodhisattva is someone who's attained the ability. So a Bodhisattva, there's Zen Buddhism and Mahayana Buddhism and Theravada Buddhism. Mahayana Buddhism is where we get nirvana, and nirvana is released from everything. And a Bodhisattva is someone who could be in nirvana but chooses to stay amongst the people to help relieve suffering from the people. So that's absolutely correct. I do disagree, though, that Zen is equated to Morden. I think that's maybe like a misinterpretation of Zen itself. Zen is not necessarily about the release. It's not about the absence of desire. It's more about like the release of the ego and that, like working on dualities and different things like that. So so I'm half agreeing with you.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, Zen is the.
We should discuss this at another time.
Nirvana is the release.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. That was
a
joke.
Hey,
I promise.
Release.
Yeah.
Well, since
it was a joke, but it actually worked kind of well.
Well, since we have you back, Ryan, does that complete your thoughts?
Yeah.
So Josh,
so
also,
if I
thank you
can,
very much for that lesson, because I
Let me
didn't actually
see.
know all of that. So thanks.
let me see if I can surmise the unpopular opinion. The term Zen Rand, is that the unpopular opinion?
Rough.
But in
yeah,
more
it would help
technical
if we told
terms.
you what the unpopular opinion was, since you had.
Yeah, he wasn't
So-
here at the time.
And I will give a caveat of I believe we're splitting hairs a bit, which is kind of what we're doing with the show. So I'm gonna split them as
What are we
thin
here
as I
for,
can.
if not to split them, right?
So when you talk about Zen Rand, you talk about the state of Zen is the state of oneness, the state of losing the barrier between yourself and what is around you. And Rand, when he makes his transition into Zen Rand, they immediately have these like beautiful scenes of everybody like, I won't unload the barges because the grain is spoiled. And Rand is like, oh, really? Let me look. Oh, not only is it not spoiled, it's fat, thick grains that are nutritious, high in amino acids. Then there's like the apple orchard scene, where he's like, oh, look at these trees. They are no longer withered. They are apples. And I think
Why is he Stewie Griffin after he comes
Don't
down from
you
the
I know, right?
me when I'm pontificating.
Brian.
Brian. No, but
God damn it, Stewie, you're eating hair pie.
I feel like Rand. I guess I'm going to disagree. I guess I'm going to say I think Zen is an accurate descriptor, because what you see is that where Rand is concerned, where Rand is reflecting his sort of mental state. He is now thriving as the Dragon Reborn. He has finally accepted who he is, what he is to do fully, and that acceptance is now transcending into the physical world, into the pattern around him. And everywhere he goes, the pattern is correcting itself from the Dark One's touch due to his presence. So I feel like that term, and when you talk about Zen and oneness and being one with the surroundings around you, I feel like that's appropriate because you've got the physical world around Rand manifesting its health and happiness because of his presence and superior oneness with the pattern.
All right.
I like it.
Nice.
Good points all around, everybody. You've definitely all given me more stuff to think about in this this ongoing discussion / argument I have with the community. So
it almost sounds like
I will think on it and come back later.
It almost sounds like at a minimum everybody agreed that it's that the name itself is not accurate,
except for Josh.
Except for Josh.
Yeah, well, except for Josh.
Now I will admit it is an easy shortcut though. So
Yeah,
and
I
am splitting hairs.
And also,
I am splitting hairs with it, just so we are all clear.
I just like
I'm
the
literally
idea
nitpicking.
Of, Firelord Ozai just being up on Dragonmount and just knocking Rand into a rock and just unlocking all of his chakras, just all at the same time, and then he just walks around and all these good things happen. It's great.
So everyone, Avatar: The Last Airbender spoilers up through season 3, but not for Legend of Korra. Just so we're clear.
Damn it, Daniel!
So on to the next.
We're a Wheel of Time podcast. I don't care about spoilers for other series.
That's fair. But with that, we'll take some time to get any kind of final thoughts. All the fun niceties of ending an episode and all that fantastic stuff. And we're gonna start with the Gleemen.
All right, yeah. So final thoughts from me. Enjoyed everyone's unpopular opinions who got to go today. So that was this is good fun. I'll hand that over to Drew. Let him say his piece on that.
Yeah, these are great. I love y'all's insights, and actually, I like this octuple perspective on all of these different things. I'm impressed at how much actually comes out. So, yeah, check out the Gleemen this week.
Feel free.
Where
Plug
can
your
we
stuff.
find the Gleemen if we wanted to go and check them out?
So you can find us on YouTube. well, yes, at your local inn, of course.
Okay, see you then.
Yep. So you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Everything is at the Gleemen. That's men plural, not man. Just so you are aware.
M-I-N?
M-E-N. Hashtag men is not a sexy lamp.
Ooh, that's close to fighting words right there.
Ooh, no, I'm literally trying to stir the pot.
You just did. It
Oh,
has
I'm sure.
been stirred. It's like if it was macaroni, it'd just be like.
Let's go ahead and cut that feed real quick.
Yeah. Just go ahead and you remove me from the entire discussion.
You just found a way to edit yourself out of an entire episode. It's weird.
All these dead spots.
All right. Did Vance Balefire himself?
All right, Badger. It's your turn.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed doing this, and I can't wait to listen back to it later because it's definitely been a lot of fun. And like you guys said, a lot of really great different opinions on all these topics. So I can't wait to do the second half and see what else we have in store for the other unpopular opinions. I'm gonna say I think mine was the most unpopular / best, but that's just how it goes. My YouTube channel though is called The Badger Reborn. I have, like I said earlier, different kinds of videos. I had a pretty controversial one recently about my theory that Min could be a dark friend. And then my most recent one was just a video about why I love the Wheel of Time and kind of going into those main points. So if you haven't checked out my channel, that'd be a good one to start with. But yeah, really enjoyed being here.
Awesome.
That's a very good one.
Do you have a Twitter?
I do, yeah. I also have a Twitter. I don't know what my name is. I think it's just Badger Reborn without the on Twitter. But yeah, also kind of do Wheel of Time stuff there. I just finished a quote tournament, which was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then Patreon, also the Badger Reborn.
Yeah. All right. Way of the Leaf.
All right. First off, Badger, your men as a dark friend theory is one of my favorite. The transformation of men. Yeah, that's a great one.
Thanks.
So yeah, so we are the Way of the Leaf. We are a YouTube channel and a podcast. Our show is called The Leafcast. It is half of it is a spoiler-free show where we have a recap led by my brother Dan, and then we have a first-time reader chat, and then we do something called Tavern Talk, and that's basically a free-for-all chat discussion. We're gonna have guests. We do live streaming, so basically, you can find us on YouTube, and that'd be the best. Oh, and also on Discord too. Find our Discord.
Yeah, and I want to say for this has been awesome. For unpopular opinions, there's been a shocking lack of Rotten Tomatoes being thrown at people. I was imagining fruit and vegetables being hurled all over the place, and there hasn't been any. So you guys are gentlemen and scholars.
No, you.
I know you are, but what am I?
Awesome.
Thank you, Black Tower Podcast, for having us on. This is great. You guys are awesome.
Many thanks.
Thanks, guys.
My final thought is definitely going to be a huge thank you to you guys. It is not easy to schedule 8 people to go ahead and talk about this particular topic together, and you guys have made it as painless as it could possibly go. So thank you so much for being willing, being able, and putting in the work to make this happen. Also, again, I just want to reiterate, we chose a topic that, again, could have easily turned into shouting matches, into you're wrong and I hate you like situations. But all of you guys have been super civil and awesome and very honest, but also very logical and all of the things that make a discussion good. And so thank you so much for being all of those things. And I literally only had fun tonight. So
right on.
Sweet.
Part 2.
Well, for the Black Tower, if you happen to be listening or hearing this somewhere else, because the video and the audio, of course, is going to be available to everybody here to use on your own platform. So it's not just us getting like a podcast episode out of it, because if that was the case, why are we doing video? But you'll have that to the guys. Y'all all have that to do what you will with, to use as much or as little of it as you wish, in relatively whatever fashion and form you want. Well, not relatively. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. I just hope it works out for you. But if you're, I don't think you can make us look too worse than we make ourselves look already. From time to time.
Pictures of me disconnected on the internet, and those are already pretty bad. So you know,
I'm gonna edit out every good argument against me.
Hey man, go for it. But so we are.
I was literally knee-jerk reaction gonna make a political joke against you, and then I was like, "That's stupid. There are 8 of us. The likelihood of that going over well is very low." So I stopped myself.
Right.
So
discretion is
that was a good choice.
On the parent to Faile maturity spectrum, yes.
Yeah.
So again, we are.
That's where I am. Over.
Boobs. Boobs.
This is in the Bear Lane sect of the relationship. So Josh, Daniel,
I wanted Perrin and Barreling to get together for them. No, that was for me.
Yeah.
So Josh, Daniel, and I, we make up the Black Tower podcast in its current iteration. We do podcast on Wheel of Time topics that sometimes may only spoil a very small portion of one book, but very oftentimes spoil things from the entire series. We just wanted to be able to talk about whatever we wanted to talk about from the series, and that's what we do. Definitely not. I wouldn't say you would classify us as a PG family-friendly podcast. I'm pretty sure they start to use the things like crude humor, vague sexual imagery, though you don't. It's not like shown. Just imagery in your head, like D&D, stuff like that. You know, dirty mouth, taint, that kind of stuff. You know. It is what it is. You know, we're not for everyone, but if those kind of things don't bother you, then we may have yet another podcast for you to listen to in addition to all the other ones you listen to when you're not watching YouTube videos from the fantastic people that are here. My wrist won't turn the right way, so yeah, there we go. From all these lovely folks. So that's what we do. You can find us on Twitter at Tower Podcast. You can email us at blacktowerpod@gmail.com. You can find us on our hosting platform at blacktowerpod.podbean.com. That also has links to our Twitter, our YouTube channel that is mostly still images with the podcast on it, but there's some live streams, and this video will be on there. You can also get a hold of our Patreon, our merch store, all that kind of stuff. Anything that you want to find out about Black Tower Podcast, you can find through that link to our hosting site. I don't know, did I miss anything? Oh, we have an event in October called the Gathering Madness in Ogden, Utah, from the 16th through the 18th. So if you can be there, because unlike most events you go to, you don't have to hand us money at the door to get in. Just your soul.
Hey.
Yep.
And take a cup of wine.
Yep.
Don't worry about the weird things floating in the bottom. It's fine.
It's tenants.
Yeah, there we go.
Tenants or
tannins.
Yeah.
It's the spices in the spice wine. That's all it is. Flakes of cinnamon.
Mulled wine.
I don't know what else would go into spiced wine.
Paprika.
Mole.
That's perfect.
A little bit of Parmesan cheese.
If you're really rich, you get to do gold flakes. It's just gold Schlager wine.
Yeah. We just pour a shot of gold.
This is the point where I remind you the Romans sweetened their wine with lead acetate.
Ooh.
Remind me. How about tell me for the first time ever?
Awful idea.
What
does that taste like?
It tastes sweet.
Can I remind you about the meaning of life?
Can I remind you that
What?
until relatively
first.
recently we put asbestos in our ceilings?
Oh yeah.
Just
popcorn.
saying, we haven't learned since Rome.
Yeah,
we haven't learned.
Best is in the word.
It is best.
It is.
Yeah.
But
that's going to round us out here. Make sure you go subscribe and follow to all these guys. Yeah. Make sure you go subscribe to these guys on YouTube, follow them on Twitter, and any other platform you can find them at. If they have Discords, go join them. If you can't find them in the Discord, there's so many Wheel of Time Discords that someone will be able to direct you in the right way. Really, the only way to not find these guys is to not try hard enough. Pretty simple.
But thank you again, guys. Thank you so much for being here. All of everyone. This collaboration, it would not have been possible without all of you. And as I have stated a number of times, but we'll say again, it was super fun, at least for me personally, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed yourselves. But I think that is going to, as Andrew said, round us out for the episode. So everybody have a wonderful good morning to you all, and in case we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
That wraps up this section of the discussion. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to help me create more Wheel of Time content, I have a Patreon and I would love it if you would join. Finally, check out my other videos, including the other parts of this discussion, subscribe to my channel, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next time.